Episode 172 of the Interpretation Station is called to order. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. How are you all doing today? Today is the 17th of April 2023. Today's episode, it's going to be a recording of the Sunday at 6 workshop that I held yesterday on the 16th of April. For those, well, basically it was done as a sort of warm-up for all those poor souls who are going to be taking the English Booth competitive exam, the CELP, a week today. So this was my last chance really to have another Sunday at 6 before that session. So as usual, we did a Spanish text, we did a French text, we did a Russian text. I'll be putting out the French and the Russian later on this week, hopefully. So today's episode just focuses on the Spanish text that we did. I chose for the Spanish text a statement by Venezuela. Always fruity, always spicy, the Venezuelans. It was actually a right of reply in a meeting from the Human Rights Council pretty recently. It was just the end of March. So, as ever with the Venezuelans, you learn some really interesting new words and vocabulary. They're always good fun ones to do. And then at the end, just to give you the context, so I'd sent the participants out a sort of backup text in case we'd finished that first one ahead of time. And so I sent them out another one. This was speaking, same session, this time on the subject of Ukraine. And what we do at the end, the last 5 minutes of this episode, is we just focus on like three interesting expressions that appear in that text. We have a bit of a discussion about them, and so I encourage just watch till the end, okay? Because those are words that sort of have troubled me over the years. Expressions. What was it? Una pérdida dolorosa, insoslayable, and contención. The word contención. Okay, so if any of those words have made you ever just sort of scratch your head and think, what's the best thing to do with them? It's worth just watching to the end of the episode, as I say, because I think we come up with some good ideas, says he modestly. Okay, so without any further ado, I suggest you make yourselves comfortable, get some popcorn, and enjoy the show. And I'll see you at the other side.
Okay, let's get started then, right? So Jacob, Aisha, and Laura, just the three of you. Okay. All right. Well, so Jacob, why don't you start us off then? So this is just to give you the background, right? So if you've seen, so this was Venezuela, Bolivarian Republic of. This was pretty recently, I think. Yeah, it was 24th of March, 2023. Right of reply, and this was the session that ended just a couple of weeks ago. Okay, so I'll leave it to you, Jacob. Off you go.
Okay. So, is it the Human Rights Council?
Human Rights Council, yeah.
Yes. Okay, thanks. Thank you, President. We exercise the right to reply following Belgium's statement delivered on behalf of the Netherlands, Luxembourg, and Belgium, made against Venezuela.
Yeah. Okay. So it's unlikely you're going to get, by the way, a right of reply in the test. But when you come to work at the UN, it's a good little formula to know, because when a country wants to sort of complain about what another country said, they say, "I want to exercise right of reply. I'm making this statement in exercise of right of reply." So it's one of the many sort of little formulaic phrases that it's good to know when you come to work at the UN. And I don't know, it's probably the same when you work at the EU. They probably have the same sort of
in exercise of. Okay.
In exercise of right of reply. Yeah.
Brilliant. Do you know what I just thought? I just thought it would have been great to say the Benelux countries, but that's probably too informal.
Yeah,
you would have saved a whole.
You'd have saved a lot, yeah. On behalf of they might even have. Well, yeah. I think I think he says it in the next paragraph. They
said the next paragraph, yeah.
Bochornoso. Ooh.
Okay.
Gosh.
So, what would you say here?
Well, you've written aggressive. I thought it meant stormy.
It says, I actually said that wasn't me that wrote it. It says oppressive, and that is what it'll say if you look in the dictionary. Do we have a Spanish native? Oh, okay. This is where Aisha's going to come in helpful. So I believe that bochornoso means like muggy, stuffy,
Yeah, like
oppressive.
weather.
Is that right, Aisha?
Well, it's got a little bit of like embarrassment content as well. So
Okay.
it's something that it's like bad, but also embarrassing.
Yeah.
So oppressive, I wouldn't say that word.
No, I wouldn't say. I wouldn't say
Shameful. I
oppressive.
just looked this up.
Yes,
but
shameful. Shameful
right?
sounds
Because
better for
if
me,
you said
yeah.
it has about embarrassing, yeah, shameful.
Right. A
Okay.
word
Yeah.
that came to me that I thought might be quite good. It's a very versatile word, and it'll come up again later. Outrageous. Okay, outrageous fits in a lot of different contexts. You can talk this. So this is outrageous. What these Benelux people are doing. You have outrageous crimes, outrageous accusations, outrageous events. Right now, there are other similar words. I don't know. For example, like appalling. Okay, you can say appalling crimes, outrageous crimes, appalling crimes. It's okay, but to say like appalling accusations in English doesn't quite sound. It doesn't sound like quite the right collocation. Like an appalling accusation or a heinous crime. Great, heinous accusation, slightly weird, but outrageous just fits into lots of them, into all of them. So that's just a general tip. Like outrageous is a really good word. And with that, I'll let Jacob resume.
Okay, it's outrageous that these countries in the so-called Benelux group are coming to this council to launch invectives, was the collocation that came to mind, but señalamientos, I don't know.
I mean, that's the idea. I mean,
Yeah,
don't get too bogged down in that
No, but
Spanish
it's not.
word.
It's a bit less than that. It's like, isn't it like to?
I would say, for example, something like unfounded accusations. It's the whole sort of thing. Unfounded, like casting aspersions.
I like casting aspersions because it's
make
kind of
insinuations. So
Yeah,
you want to have a
it's-
little package like of that.
to me it's señalamiento. Yeah, it's kind of indirect. I don't know if a Spanish speaker, a native speaker, would agree. It's not like a direct accusation. To me, it sounds kind of like a snide remark or something. I don't know.
Aisha, would you like to?
No, I'd say it's
No?
pretty straightforward. Like
Okay.
in the context, right? Like if
Yeah.
we're thinking about the speech, I would say it's just like you're accusing us or of whatever is that we're doing. So accusations, I think. I mean, it's not the exact meaning, but considering the context, I'd say it's the best.
And particularly if you don't have a text in front of you, you can't get lost in those little shades. I mean,
Exactly.
you just have to, maybe if you've got the time to prepare it, maybe you can sort of capture that shade. But like if you just heard this like in the exam, unfounded accusations, groundless, whatever, insinuations, just go for it. Yeah.
Excellent. Without a shed, what does that say? What does that say?
It says a shadow.
A shadow.
I think.
I probably would have.
What would you have said?
I probably would have said with no objectivity or certainty. I remember once you said how you can kind of use your voice if you're not entirely sure or it's going really quickly.
If the word for atisbo doesn't come to you in the moment,
it probably wouldn't have, to be honest.
Yeah.
Maybe no ... whatsoever, but
yeah. Or without a trace is that
Without a
perhaps
trace,
maybe the most
yeah.
natural thing we would say, without a trace. Yeah.
Anyway, I should just get through it. Without a trace of objectivity or certainty to back up their false claims.
Yeah, I would say so. I would turn the el falso de sus menciones into something like that to back up their allegations, to back up their, again, this insinuations. One of those words that we were mentioned a couple of minutes ago.
Of their remarks.
References.
Yeah,
that sounds weird. So yeah, you would just, you would just
a bit much, yeah.
Something again like that to back up their insinuations, whatever. Okay.
Which were, of course, made to
it's a good word.
appease their paymaster, leader. You've put there, yeah, leader. Great.
Yeah.
Paymaster's a bit much. I'm trying to think. Mandante, their ultimate boss.
Yeah. So I was going to say, so congraciarse. So it says here to ingratiate themselves with. So it's good to have a couple of things like ingratiate themselves with, to curry favor with. I like to remember sort of those two as a sort of little package.
That's nice.
I had to sort for mandante. Does anyone else have a suggestion for mandante? That I think is a bit better. As I said, I didn't put these notes in. But so my thought was maybe their patron in like.
Yeah, this is
in this case.
There are so many words for like underlings and
that's it.
Minions.
Right,
for
the one
patron,
under, but yeah.
That would be really good, something like that.
And I mean the thing that occurred to me, right? So this is the Venezuelans speaking. So obviously the Venezuelans always use really interesting words. I like doing their statements because that's why I picked them, right? Because you always get some interesting vocabulary. I don't think you could say this, but you definitely couldn't, right? But like their daddy, their sugar daddy.
Uncle Sam.
Right, I don't think you could say, but I bet you if you were to approach the Venezuelan delegate and say to, "Oi, amigo," for that word mandante that you're saying, what do you think if I say their sugar daddy? And I bet the guy would probably say, "Me gusta." But no, I wouldn't say sugar. Yeah, patron, I think, is the best. Anyway, okay, let's go on then to Laura.
Okay. On the other hand, it has been fully shown that Belgium, Netherlands, and Luxembourg have continued their persistent pattern of systemic human rights violations against ethnic and religious minorities who are discriminated against on a daily basis. These three countries carry out racism and xenophobia with special fury. I think it says fury and impunity.
Just remember, so what it says might not actually be right.
Right,
so,
I know,
okay.
yeah. I wasn't familiar with Sanya though,
yeah,
so
I didn't know this. I mean, I remember when I did this, the word I had, a good word also for Sanya was venom, with particular venom. Was there anything else here? Yeah, it's been fully comprobado, proven. What did you say? Shown, something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Maintain a persistent pattern of systemic violation. Just remember, you said, I mean, Países Bajos, Netherlands. Try to avoid saying Holland. That might be tempting sometimes. Other than that, that was all good. Just before we carry on, Laura, let me just say hello. There's Philip. Hello, Philip.
Hello.
How are you, sir?
Fine, thank you. Sorry
welcome,
for coming
welcome.
Late.
No problem.
Thank you. I was struggling with some link that was sent to me that I'm not familiar with.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do we have anyone else here that's Aliyah El Zahar?
Yes, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
أهلا وسهلا.
أهلا وسهلا بحضرتك.
تشرفنا.
Merci beaucoup.
Sorry, just
Enchanté.
flexing my Arabic there.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, Laura, do the next paragraph. So antes de venir.
Okay. Before coming before this honorable council intending to slander Venezuela and erode the honor of sovereign states, these three countries must first deal with their own serious internal human rights situations.
Yeah, that's a good idea, because you said slander there. So the way I had it was, okay, before coming to this honorable council, to seek to defame. I mean, you can just use the cognate as well for I had to defame Venezuela and try to, just for erosionar la honorabilidad. My idea was to say just to slander in one word, but yeah.
Okay.
Okay. But no, it's all good. Those three should first, deal with the serious human rights situation in their own country. Okay, well, let's see. Philip, would you like to have a go?
I clicked on something else. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll give it a go. Yeah.
Just tell me, where are you calling from? Where are you based?
I'm based in Burkina Faso.
Okay, Ouagadougou?
Bobo Dioulasso.
Oh, I don't know that one.
That's a lesser known city. That's the second city
Okay.
of Burkina Faso, yeah.
Do you interpret mainly into French or into English?
Mainly into English. I'm from Ghana.
Oh, you're from Ghana. Okay. Are you taking the test? Are you taking the CELP?
I am taking the text.
Oh, you are? Okay.
24th, yeah.
Very good. Okay. Okay, well, give it a try. So, deben acabar con los delitos de odio.
They should put an end to the hate crimes and find punishments for the serious police violations and xenophobia.
Okay,
practice with the encouragement of their authorities. They
okay,
must...
just hang on, just wait a second, Philip. So we're gonna. So it's good you started well, right? They should put an end to the hate crimes que cometen sus policías.
Committed by their police.
Yeah. Okay. So we're doing it as if we're listening to. So okay, I know we've got the text, but we want to do it as if we were listening without the text. So you have having to process it as we go along. So committed by the police. Okay, castigar los graves. Yeah. Go. Castigar.
And punish the serious violations of xenophobia practiced with the encouragement of their authorities. They must as well end the degrading conditions of their inmates, as well as put an end to the child prostitution network that also engage in human traffic, most especially of women and girls.
Now, just wait a minute. Let's just see what you've done here. Okay, so to punish, okay, castigar, punish, sanction as well is a good is a good alternative. Word. No, they're both good. They're both good. Just have them together. Remember them as a package again. Sanction grave cases of xenophobic police violence consentidos por sus autoridades. What's a nice way of saying consentidos? Here,
tolerated by the authorities.
So the condoned is
condoned.
Often, condoned. All these things are condoned by the authorities. They can, put an end to the degrading, inhumane conditions in detention centers. Okay, put an end to child prostitution, human trafficking networks, in particular women and children. Go on. So then go to the end of the sentence. By the way, don't throw stuff in, by the way, Philip, because I noticed you put in for their inmates at one point when we were talking about the
centros de detención.
He doesn't actually mention inmates. He just talks about the conditions in the detention center. So just be careful about that, not to throw stuff in that's not there, okay? So go on from here. So from deben legislar.
They must legislate and provide an adequate judicial response to all the forms of sexual harassment, including cyberbullying, that are currently practiced in total impunity.
Cyberbullying, I guess so. Yeah, okay. And of course, I know that. I was just thinking online harassment. Usually the sort of set word for acoso is harassment, but
it's harassment, yeah.
Cyberbullying is pretty good in that context. Why don't you try the next paragraph as well? Es alarmante. Okay. By the way, any questions as we're going along? Any suggestions? Please do chip in, okay? Anyone? Yeah.
It is alarming and worrisome.
Hello, sorry?
Sorry, I just wondered, on the line, you see just in the paragraph that Philip did, where it says, las inhumanas condiciones degradantes. I was just thinking if it was coming at me at speed without the text would probably throw me a bit, and I'd probably want to rejig it somehow. I just wondered if anyone else.
Degrading. Yeah, I mean, you got two adjectives there, haven't you? I mean, if you're going fast, the first thing to go are the adjectives. So I think you could be forgiven, perhaps, if you were to drop one of those adjectives. But it would probably be, I guess, the degrading, wouldn't it? Because you'd hear inhumanas, you'd probably just say the inhuman conditions in detention centers. Because then if you want to throw in, then you hit degradante. If you're going to sort of check back, make sure you repeat the noun. So, you might say, you need to put an end to the inhumane conditions. Okay, then you hear, degradante, the degrading conditions of the in detention centers. Okay, so
is it slightly more emphatic with the adjective before the noun in this context? Is it slightly like, if I don't know if a Spanish speaker knows, but I mean, always think
personally, if I heard that and I were had a sufficient lag, I would say inhumane and degrading conditions, because really it's what it's doing. But more than likely, like Roland said, I would have said inhumane conditions, and then they
probably
throw
yourself.
If you've got the time.
Oh, that's a great solution to just repeat. And degrading conditions, I think. Yeah.
No, thank you, everyone.
Is there anyone that, like me, feels that these two words actually are just synonyms of?
Well, they are. That's why I'm saying I think you could be forgiven for dropping one of them. You know, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Okay. You got to. I mean, that's, again, it's always a decision you have to take in the moment. But certainly, I think that would be because this guy usually. I mean, I'll put the link up to the original, and the Venezuelans always speak pretty fast, and they usually speak from their embassy from the bunker, their embassy in Geneva. They very rarely come to physically into the meeting, and it's always via remote. Not always, but like these days, like 95% of the time. And with these what are complex statements, but if you don't happen to have them if you don't happen to have the text, so you'll see if you give it a try. It's one of those, the speed he goes at certainly could be forgiven for dropping one of them. On you go, Philip. Do this next. Does this para? Es alarmante y preocupante.
The growing number of
but wait. You can't afford to wait that. I don't think you can afford to just drop alarming and and preocupante until the end.
Actually, because I have the benefit of a lag, I was actually going to turn the sentence around.
But you're not going to have any lag. You're not going to have that benefit in the exam, Philip. You're not going to have that.
That's true.
So just imagine you're just hearing it coming at you. So what are you going to do with that?
All right. It is alarming and worrisome, the growing number of children that are victims of sexual exploitation in these 3 countries, most especially migrant children and asylum seekers, as well as children from broken homes.
Okay. So one thing to do, I mean, if that's what you hear first, if it's like the 2 adjectives, like an adjective that comes out first, like they do that a lot in Spanish, right? Es preocupante, whatever. You start off with the best thing is to say what's alarming and troubling is the growing number of child victims. So that's it. I mean, you can say like you did it, like it's alarming and troubling, the growing number. It sounds slightly more informal, I think, when you say it in English. So the best way is, I think, is to throw in the what at the start, but
I find I like that solution, but when they say es alarmante y preocupante, they might say que, in which case it would just be it's alarming and worrisome that. So
right.
You don't know where if you don't know where it's going, to throw the what in. I like that solution, but I'm just thinking about how I would think.
Es alarmante que. Yeah, but even if you had the what, you can still go with the what. What's alarming is that they're doing this, that, and the other.
Right.
Okay. It fits both scenarios. Yep. Fat children from dysfunctional families. I had an idea for here. What?
I said broken homes.
Oh, you said broken homes, did you? That was that's brilliant. Well done, Philip. That's exactly. I thought you just said children from dysfunctional families, but broken homes, brilliant. Anyway, in the meantime. Jacob, do you want to carry on then? ¿Tienen estos 3 países?
Yes. These 3 countries, Belgium, the Netherlands, and Luxembourg, have much to do before they can give lectures on human rights to anyone.
Yeah, I mean, you could just say before they seek to lecture anyone about human rights. I mean, we could also. I think we talk about handing out lectures, handing out lessons, dishing out lessons on. An English speaker might say they need to have much to do before they start dishing out human rights lessons to all and sundry.
All and sundry would be very good.
Yeah. So if you're going to get, that's going to come to you right in the moment. But If you have the text, if you work, that's sounds
That,
nice.
I think you could say they're in no position to give human rights lectures to anyone. That's I think,
that's fine. Yeah.
I'm trying to think something on TV from Parliament the other day, and it was a formulation very much like that. It was
along the
slightly high and mighty way of saying I don't care.
Right, slightly higher register. Yeah. We got Carola there. Hello, Carola.
Hey,
by the way,
sorry I'm late.
That's okay. Go on, Jacob. Do another paragraph.
Ooh, okay. This is
Apoyan servilmente.
spicy, yeah.
I like that. Like I say, spicy. Yeah, like you said.
Yeah. They
you're trying to find an adverb.
Support. Yeah, I can't, in a servile way is the best I could do.
You wouldn't say it's annoying. You wouldn't say servile. That just wouldn't sound right. So I had to think about that as well.
I think I would say shamelessly or something.
Shamelessly. Well, that's not bad. That's not bad.
Ideal.
Yeah,
that's all right. The same flavor.
Cravenly.
Cravenly. Yeah, that's very nice. Because it's got that kind of cowardice.
Yeah.
Unquestioningly.
I'll say obsequiously.
Oh, that's nice.
Unquestioningly. Yeah, that's the idea. I mean, certainly the right. Yeah, certainly along those lines, isn't it? They don't. They don't. Yeah, exactly. They don't question it. They just do it because the daddy tells them to.
They're debasing themselves. Yeah, I like obsequiously.
So carry on.
So they shamelessly support criminal unilateral coercive measures and the economic embargo imposed by their patron, the United States of America, against Venezuela and many countries of the South.
Okay, just one thing. That's it.
Yeah.
What are you going to say?
Could you add the global South in? Would you add the word global?
No. I wouldn't add. No. Don't add stuff in. Don't.
It's clear enough in English.
Yeah. Don't throw stuff in. You don't need. No. One thing I'll say is.
But Roland, would that really be throwing in stuff? I just think it is maybe just too much to add. But the South, global South.
Sorry, I think the main difference is that the global South is like the whole South hemisphere. So that would include India, Asia, whatever.
It might be.
I don't think so. I think it's just making reference to. Yeah, I think so. Like coming from Venezuela and the relationship with the United States. That's what I would think, but I don't know.
Interesting. Yeah, you're right. Better play it safe, I suppose.
I would not put anything in there. Just of the South, the countries of the South. One thing I was going to say. Just you want to make a bit more use of shortcuts, Jacob.
Yeah,
UCMs, okay, so unilateral, that's the Cubans, the Venezuelans, they talk about all the time, okay, and UCMs, you can use that as an acronym. So the economic embargo, you can say the blockade as well, that's fine, imposed by their patron.
Do you know what? Embargo makes me think of Cuba, maybe. Blockade, yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, but it's fine as well. It's okay. But I don't. It would just make it a slight effort, like blockade,
right?
Just to think of embargo, just an unnecessary, making slight, just unnecessarily that little bit harder for yourself.
Especially because it's often like economic, financial, trades. Blah 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 blah, like loads of adjectives in that list.
Exactly, yeah. By the US, you don't have to call it the United States of America. Just say the US. Aisha, would you like to try? I know you're.
Roland, I have a question first. Sorry, you just said UCM for unilateral coercive measures. Is that something that they would say in Spanish as well, like MCU? MCUs, como medidas coercitivas unilaterales.
MCU. That doesn't sound familiar, no, to be honest.
I'm sorry, I'm preparing the other way around, so that's why I have these questions.
I don't think so. Maybe if they were saying it a lot in one statement, maybe if you were doing it and they were saying it, maybe you could be forgiven for making it, turning it into an acronym, You could sort of say, sometimes that's something that we do, like, if I'm in a meeting on indigenous peoples, and they're just constantly indigenous peoples. And sometimes I'll say that indigenous peoples or IPs, and then for when they then when they go after it, I'll say IPs. So sometimes you can almost make your own little acronym sometimes.
Okay, I just wanted to know if that was something that you had heard in Spanish or not.
Yeah, I can't say I have.
Because we have the SDGs, and in Spanish they say los ODS.
ODS, yeah, in Spanish.
So that is why I was wondering if this one was one of those or not.
I've not heard it for UCMs, no.
Okay, thank you.
Do you want to, Carola, Aisha, do you want to try going into English? Carola, do you want to try going into English?
Sure.
Okay, go ahead. So,
with Mr. President?
Yes, and remember, Senor President, that's one of those things I always say, just drop if it's a really fast speaker. Whenever they sort of go, Mr. President, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I'll often just drop that.
Okay, Mr. President, the Venezuelan government reiterates their commitment to upholding human rights within the country. We show this effort by strengthening cooperation and technical assistance with the Office of the High Commissioner and provide evidence of the recent renovation by showing evidence of our recent renovation for 2 years of the letter of, do you call it letter of understanding?
I think it's maybe it's a memorandum.
Memorandum.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I'd say letter is probably fine. Because because it says here carta, not memorandum.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah. Okay, for 2 years.
Okay, so the Venezuelan government writ its commitment. Whenever I hear compromiso con la vigencia, I always tend to find I say that it's commitment to the relevance of whatever it is.
Okay, relevance.
But I guess what you said, it's commitment to upholding human rights. Yeah, I mean, sure. It's I guess so.
It's hard because when they say vigencia in Spanish, it just means that, they're still valid or they still believe in them.
The first thing I thought when I saw it, I'm just going to say, the government of Venezuela reiterates their commitment to human rights. I thought about just deleting that vigencia because of what you just said.
Interesting.
Something with commitment with human rights, with respecting human rights or something like that.
I think that's one of those things when we talk about
naturally. Sorry.
So just Laura, go ahead.
Yeah, just in English, I agree with Aisha that if you're committed to human rights, it means you're committed to protect. It's implied. There's no need to, I think, specify that it's respecting or upholding even. So I think
you could get away with it. Yeah, I think so. Philip, what were you going to say?
Yeah, I was going to say that upholding came through rather very naturally, and
I think it's nice. Yeah, it's commitment to hold. Yeah, that's good. It's good. Muestra de, probably say a sign of this is the strengthening of technical operation assistance with Oficina del Alto Comisionado. Feel free to say OHCHR if if in the exam, if you get that, we just go OHCHR as evidenced by, as evidenciado, as borne out by the recent, I guess, 2-year extension or the renewal by 2 years of the letter of understanding. Okay, and okay, do you want to do the last paragraph as well, Carola? Finish off.
Sure. We confirm or we assert.
I think you could just. I think we would just say we reaffirm. I'm happy just with the what do you call it, cognate. I'll happily reaffirm.
Okay, we reaffirm our willingness to continue the dialogue and cooperation with all the member states of this committee and its mechanisms based on the universal principles of sovereignty and non-interference with its internal state matters stated in the UN Charter. Thank you very much.
Okay, so I'd say we reaffirm our full willingness to continue dialogue and cooperating with all states in this council. Remember, it's a council, not committee.
Council.
And its mechanism based on universal principles of, you skipped the rest. I would probably include, I'd probably say respect for sovereignty and non-interference in the internal affairs of states. I mean, that's a very important package. that.
Yes.
No, respect for sovereignty and non-interference in internal affairs of other states, as enshrined in the charter, as set forth in the charter, whatever, as laid down in the charter. Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you ever hear in Spanish for non-interference interferencia?
No, not
really, right?
Not really. No, it really is no injerencia.
Because I always, when I see interference or non-interference in English, I'm always wondering if, like, I know we use injerencia in Spanish, but I always wonder if interferencia would be also an option, or it's just like, you know,
I would stick to
the interferencia.
Yeah.
Okay.
The only thing. So sometimes in English, I would say the non-interference, non-intervention, and sometimes in English you might hear non-intervention, non-interference. Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay, I think so. I think I did provide another text. That was my sort of backup text. If we'd finished Venezuela quickly, but I won't do that now. You can practice that one. It's on the situation in. Just give us maybe just one or two words. It's maybe worth just me highlighting for you that I wanted to. I'll just tell you a couple of little things that I thought were interesting. I've noticed in Spanish they say this a lot: una dolorosa pérdida de vidas. Okay, and it occurred to me we don't really say a painful loss of life. Sounds a bit weird. I think in English you might like to say a tragic loss of life. So again, that's something that I've heard quite a few times in various contexts of war. Was there something else? This is something that comes. Amenazas insoslayables, threats that can't be avoided. It's a bit tricky in English how to render that best. Added to the inescapable threats. This the ongoing expansion of NATO towards Eastern Europe, growing hostility against Russia since 2014, added to the inescapable threat. Insoslayable means you can't avoid it, right? But if you can think of something before if you can think of something, I was thinking this for ages. I couldn't think of the mot juste in English. So there you go, Jacob.
Maybe
inexorable.
Yeah,
unavoidable.
That's nice.
Ooh.
I was thinking like ratcheting up of threats or something.
Well, that's it. That's the idea. But I think added to
inexorable.
What about unavoidable?
Between the two.
But unavoidable, yeah.
It's the same, right? I mean, it's inescapable.
But inexorable sounds much nicer.
Inexorable.
It sounds worse. Yeah.
I mean, worse as in it's like scarier, but like as a word, it sounds
inevitable.
Ominous.
Yeah, inevitable. That doesn't quite sound.
Inevitable sounds a bit casual to me. It's like, it's inevitable.
That was one. Just get. What else was there? Was there something else? Oh yeah, there's just this. Okay, and this down here. It's worth noting that la contención. That is a word I've only recently sort of assimilated that I'm now comfortable with, as in containment. So I don't know why. It's just a word that I think I must have fudged for years and years until I finally sort of sat down a few months ago and thought, okay, what is the best thing for contención? So containment. And again, that's a word that you may hear quite a bit these days. So, but anyway, I'll leave that one. You can do that in your own time. And we will now move to the French text.
Would that be, sorry, it just occurred to me that contención, restraint?
Yeah.
If it's containment, I think about physical things, but if they're talking about political dialogue and like restraint, so as in like not overreacting,
I see what you mean.
not jumping to,
in this context,
action.
That really sounds good.
Yeah, it does actually. Yeah. Aisha,
because it can be a physical thing, right? It can be like
the idea of not
ceding
to provocation.
Yeah.
I think it would work in this context, but only like in this context, because restrainment, to me, I'm not an English native speaker, but it means more like not doing something kind of thing. So it has another shade of meaning that contención wouldn't have. But in this context, I think
restraint is
we talk about people exercising restraint, right?
Restraint,
so sort of like think before you speak or think before you act.
Absolutely.
Which, when they're talking about political dialogue, to me seems like, because containment,
Yeah,
when
and
you're
this,
talking
you're
about
right,
people,
yeah.
doesn't fit to me.
Yeah,
but I can see why you could use that, because they're talking about the expansion of NATO. I mean, that.
Well, they often use it exactly about that. Yeah. So.
Okay.
Yeah,
but I guess if they're encouraging people to do something actively, then maybe it's more restraint. But it's really interesting.
I like restraint. So anyway, think about, just to be aware of that word, okay, because it can be a bit can sort of throw you if you're not prepared for it.
So there you have it. Like I said, I think we came up with some interesting ideas for those words. So Philip should definitely give himself a big pat on the back for old inexorable for insoslayable. I really like that. Okay, well, I will make sure I'll try and get out the French episode and the Russian episode before the exam. At any rate, I hope you've learned a few new words from that episode. If you have, you know what to do, don't you? You need to like, share, subscribe, and particularly for those who are actually in attendance, please comment. Anyone, comment. Please do comment. Ask me questions. Okay, so I can make another Agony Aunt show. Okay, so if you are in attendance, you need to comment. You need to put some nice comments. Okay, so pleasure as ever. All that remains to be said is that episode 172 of the Interpretation Station stands adjourned.